Now, some questions in life and in faith, they need to be answered. Because when certain questions are answered, they give us clarity, they give us direction, they bring us security, they connect us to a deeper meaning. So certain questions we ask, they need answers. Now, certain questions need to be asked, because when we ask certain kinds of questions, they create all new kinds of possibilities. They give the chance for all new kind of discoveries. When we ask certain kind of questions, they hold others accountable to decency and to the common good. And certain kinds of questions, when we ask them, especially when we ask them of ourselves, they probe deeper within. They call forth transformation. They help us face our brokenness and our hurts, and they create all kinds of new trust and faith, and even reaching out with transparency and vulnerability, which creates transformation. I mean, didn't Jesus say, keep on asking and keep on knocking? Now, certain kinds of questions, they don't have answers, do they? And we know that. Now, that doesn't mean we don't ask them, because it's important within that we do. But certain kind of questions don't have answers, or they don't have answers yet. This is how we evolve as people. And we learn new things and awaken and evolve to new things as we go. But what I want to offer here is certain kinds of questions, especially in the spiritual kind and especially in the Christian kind, are not meant to be answered. And so many times the kind of questions that are not meant to be answered, somebody offers a version of an answer, or a certain kind of Christianity attempts to answer that. But certain kinds of questions, I think, are not meant to be answered, because when they are answered with somebody's version of an answer, they rob us from a God attunement that we would otherwise experience. They rob us from a real chance to grow faith and trust and awareness. And so I'm going to talk a little bit, actually more about that next week as our church, Spero Dei, is reopening. Because the kind of church that Spero Dei is, and the kind of Christianity that we are talking about or trying to express and experience, is a kind of Christianity that values more questions than is given answers. In fact, that's why some of you started to run away from the church and run away from a certain kind of Christianity. It's because they had an answer for everything. And so next week, when we actually reopen live, I want to talk about that value. Now today, we're going to experience communion together. So wherever you are, I hope you can run and get a little piece of bread, or you can run and get a little wine or juice. And because by the time this all ends today, we're going to experience communion together. So I hope in a chance you get to run and go grab that. Now, Jesus in the Gospels, he literally asked hundreds of questions. And when Jesus asked people questions, he wasn't really looking for an answer. Jesus always used those questions for people to probe deep within, for people to go to their center and gain a greater awareness. He used those questions for people to gain an experience and a connection with God's love. When Jesus asked questions, it was a way that they could always collide and experience with God's love. And when Jesus asked those questions, and when they did experience and collide with his love, Christ's love would hold them. Christ's love would keep them. Christ's love would defend them. Christ's love would literally change everything.
There were walls between us. By the cross you came and broke them down. You broke them down. There were chains around us. By your grace we are no longer bound. No longer bound.
You called me out of the grave. You called me into the light. You called my name and then my heart came alive. Your love is greater. Your love is stronger. Your love awakens, awakens, awakens me. Your love is greater. Your love is stronger. Your love awakens, awakens, awakens me. Surely my God is the strength of my soul. Your love defends me. Your love defends me. And when I feel like I'm all alone, your love defends me. Your love defends me. Surely my God is the strength of my soul. Your love defends me. Your love defends me. And when I feel like I'm all alone, your love defends me. Your love defends me. We sing hallelujah. You're my portion, my salvation. Hallelujah. So come on into the waters. Come let the broken sing. Come on, your sons and daughters. Your love changes everything. Come when the fear is fighting, finding the risen King. Come on and let the light in. Your love changes everything. Come on into the waters. Come let the broken sing. Come on, your sons and daughters. Your love changes everything. Come when the fear is fighting, finding the risen King. Come on and let the light in. Your love changes everything. Your love, your love, your love changes everything. Your love, your love, your love changes everything. Your love, your love, your love changes everything.
Now, I do believe it is love that changes everything. I do. But we don't always think that way or imagine it that way. In our course of living life, sometimes we think, no, it's going to be more answers to my questions that is going to change everything. When I get more information, when I get more direction, when I know which way or not which way, what is right, what is wrong, when I just get more answers, this will change everything. When I get the truth, this will change everything. And I put the truth in these goofy air quotes because so many times the truth is just somebody's version of the truth, right? Again, that's why so many of you have altered your faith or been disillusioned in your faith, is because you asked a noble, real question about life and faith, and you got an answer that then no longer worked for you. You know what's interesting about Jesus? He always asked more questions, than literally hundreds of them, than gave answers or concrete answers to them. In fact, next week when we open, I'll talk about 3 questions that Jesus actually answers. But Jesus used mostly questions And he used at times very vague and ambiguous parables to move people, to probe people. And he used questions, not answers, and stories, not explanations, to awaken somebody's soul. I mean, to the blind man, he goes, "What is it you want me to do for you?" And the blind man said, "I want to see." And one of the things we see through that story is physical sight is one thing, but really when the man's heart awakened, when the man's heart attuned to God, when he awakened to a God awareness and his own self-awareness and his trust and need for God, he actually already could see, regardless of his physical sight. Jesus would use questions to remake us. And when we awaken through those questions, we are being remade. Let's have a time now of reflection, of tuning in our hearts, opening our hearts to be remade. So right where you're at, would you just still yourself, close your eyes. I know you might be looking at a screen or a smart device or watching this on the internet. If you can just zone all of that out and just tune yourself, just begin to quiet yourself. Become very aware of your breath. Let your mind and soul and heart be present right here. Feel and open your mind to the expanse of things. Let go of the closure of things. Just open yourself up to God. And let me pray. God, help us to see and to take in that really it's by the questions we ask that we awaken. It's through the questions we ask that we attune. It's through the questions we ask that move us to the new possibilities of trust and experiencing you in greater and more expansive ways. God, when we awaken, this is the transformation. This is the remaking of our heart, our mind, our soul, our spirit. In Jesus' name, amen.
I bottled up my doubts, blotted out my questions, built a wall around my mind and called it fate. And the lens I came to look through filtered out so many colors that my world became a black and white charade. And all along I thought I knew you. In your name I pray to you. Oh, give me eyes to see, oh Lord. Grow my heart to trust you more. Beyond my fear, beyond my pride. With open ears and open mind. Take my life and all that's mine and remake me.
I wrote this song about pretty much a 10-year deconstruction that I went through. And what I found happening was thoughts I had about God, concepts, ideas, started becoming torn down started shifting. But the wild thing is, I think it was God that was doing it. That it was God that was tearing down these entrenched ideas I'd had about him, these concepts, replacing them with new ones, more mysterious ones.
Oh, you came in like a maelstrom, a whirlwind in a windstorm, uprooting, overturning my belief, exposing my hard-heartedness, revealing all my blindnesses, ruthlessly transforming all of me. And all along you were upending the faulty truth I was defending. Oh, give me eyes to see, oh Lord. Grow my heart to trust you more. Beyond my fear, beyond my pride, with open ears and open mind, take my life and all that's mine and remake me. Letting go of certainty, leaving room for mystery, somehow brings a deeper sense of peace. Living in the tension of dropping my defenses somehow brings me freedom and release. Oh, give me eyes to see, oh Lord. Grow my heart to trust you more. Beyond my fear, beyond my pride, with open ears and open mind, take my life and all that's mine and remake me. Reshape me, bend and break me, remake me, remake me.
Now let's move into a time of communion. So I hope you have a little bread, a little wine with you or juice. And I know a number of you may be sitting there alone and you're just connecting with this screen. But I know maybe a number of you are there with others. You're sitting in your home or somewhere with people you know and love. Would you, I know this might be weird via the internet, but would you turn to each other and would you greet them and maybe say to them how much you care about them and how much you appreciate that they are in your life and that you're experiencing this together? Would you take a moment to do that? Now, a time of communion is, well, it's just that. It's called communion. So many times we make it a noun. Communion is this symbolic ceremony that we experience bread and wine. But really, remember the word communion. Communion is about this experience. It's this chance to experience and to re-experience the connection with God, the table, and others. It's that we commune together. And historically, communion is also a time of confession or reflection. So I want to lead us in that. Now, let me just say something about the word confession. Again, so many times, because it's a historic practice, the word confession has come to be tethered to ideas of shame or feeling unworthy or feeling unhealthily guilty, shame about something. And really what confession is a chance. It's part of asking those deep questions to yourself. And really confession is a chance where we come out into the light and we're seen and we're vulnerable and we experience grace and mercy. Confession is not a time where we saturate in unworthiness. In fact, I want to say this, that when you've asked yourself a certain amount of questions, or when you've awakened to the reality, there are some parts of my life that need to grow, or there are some parts of my life that are unaware, or there are some parts of my life that are dark and even unhealthy and hurting others. When you actually awaken to that reality, and when you awaken to that reality, you experience grace and you experience mercy and love. You actually understand your worthiness. You don't wallow in the fact that you're unworthy. When someone shows you grace and mercy and love, you experience that you are worthy to them. That's what confession is. And so as we prepare for a time of reflection and awareness and attunement to God and confession, begin to prepare your heart. Begin to bring your mind and spirit here as Lionel sings.
This bread is my body, this wine is my blood. Feed on my presence, feast on my love. None are excluded, all may come near. Strangers are welcome, we're all refugees here. Come all who hunger, come all who thirst, come sit at the table of grace. All who are needy, the poor and the greedy, be welcomed, be loved and embraced. You have a place. Come sit at the table of grace. There's no condemnation, exception, or shame. No threat of judgment, no fiery flame. Just the bread of forgiveness, acceptance, release, and the life-giving wine of compassion and peace. Come all who hunger, come all who thirst, come sit at the table of grace. All who are needy, the poor and the greedy, be welcomed, be loved and embraced. You have a place.
needy, the poor and the greedy. Be welcomed, be loved and embraced. You have a place. Come sit at the table of grace. Come sit at the table of grace.
Now, as we get ready to take the bread and the wine, maybe you can get your bread out. And on the night before Jesus died, the scriptures say he took the bread. This was after they had eaten all together, and he reached for some bread. And he said, "This bread is a symbol of my body that is broken for you." This is one of the cornerstones of Christianity, that Jesus, the Christ, gave of himself. He literally gave himself. In a sense, love, I know, is spelled L-O-V-E, but in the Christian sense, love is spelled G-I-V-E. It's Jesus showed his love by giving himself. And so let's remember that. He said, take this bread and let's remember. So let's eat and remember and reflect. The scriptures say that after Jesus had taken the bread, he reached for some wine and he poured it. And he said, "This wine represents, it's symbolic of my blood, which will be shed for you." And you know, this whole idea of communion, this whole idea of coming to the table, that we have a God that literally gave his life, that we had a God that died a horrible, humiliating death, all because he loved us, all because he was sacrificing himself to us to show us his love, to bring us back into communion with him. So this is why colliding with the bread and the wine is always a reflection. And it should be, in a sense, confessional. And again, confession, not in the sense of shame, but we just deal honestly with our own awareness, with our life. So before we drink, let's have a time of prayer together, and let me lead you through that. So right where you're at, go ahead and bow your head, close your eyes. Just still yourself. Are there some places in your life that need to come into light? Are there places in your life that you sense and experience the unhealth and the brokenness? Are there some places in your life where you just know you need to love people and appreciate people better? Are there some perspectives, some resentments that you are holding on? Go ahead and reflect on that and speak that back to God. In a sense, be confessional, which is you're just honest with yourself. And then reflect on grace and mercy. That when you are shown grace and mercy, which God gives, you experience how worthy you are to him, how much he loved you, that his body was broken and his blood was shed. Take in and reflect on how much you are loved, accepted, and forgiven by Christ. On the night before Jesus died, he took the cup of wine and he said, "This wine represents my blood, which will be shed for you. Do this in remembrance of me." So let's drink and remember that we have a God who loves, a God who grants mercy and grace. Let's drink. Yes. May you sense God's closeness. May you sense and experience God's grace. May you continue to open yourself up to ask questions even before needing answers, that you can live in keeping questions open-ended. May you experience God's love.
In the crushing, in the pressing, you are making new wine. In the soul I now surrender, you are breaking new ground. So I yield to you and to your careful hand. When I trust you, I don't need to understand. Make me a vessel, make me an offering, make me whatever you want me to be. I came here with nothing, but all you have given me. Jesus, bring new wine out of me. In the crushing, in the pressing, you are making new wine. In the soul I now surrender, you are breaking new ground, yeah. You are breaking new ground. So make me a vessel, make me an offering, make me whatever you want me to be. I came here with nothing, but all you have given me. Oh Jesus, bring new wine out of me, yeah. Jesus, bring new wine out of me. 'Cause where there is new wine, there is new power, there is new freedom. The kingdom is here. I lay down my own flames to carry a new fire today. Oh, where there is new wine, there is new power, there is new freedom. The kingdom is here. I lay down my own flames to carry a new fire today. So make me a vessel, make me an offering, make me whatever you want me to be. I came here with nothing, but all you have given me. Jesus, bring new wine out of me. Yeah. Jesus, bring new wine out of me. Jesus, bring new wine out of me.
Well, thanks for joining us today, and I hope communion was really meaningful for you. Well, this next week is pretty exciting for us. We are going to be reopening Spero Dei Church in our newly renovated building, and we're pretty excited about that. Now, we're still very much in a pandemic, and so there's several things that we are doing to make sure that we keep it safe. One being that masks are required. We will be seated, socially distant from each other, and you do have to RSVP. There's other things that we're doing, maybe partly like the flow of the building and all that. All of this can be found on our website. There's a tab at the top that just says reopening. So read that and you'll hear everything you need to know about it. And then also want to let you know that we're changing our service times. So starting next Sunday, it will be 10 and 11:30. And if you don't feel safe joining us in the building, just know that you can still find us here online every Sunday morning, okay? Now, we also have some groups that are going on currently, and we have new ones that are coming up. Sarah Baker has her podcast group coming up. I have a book club. David has a book club. All of these can also be found on our website. So join us, and we're doing a hybrid approach for all of those. And then lastly, your giving really makes a difference, and it really matters to us. And if you would like to give to Spero Dei today, just know you can go to our website. Up at the top it says Give Here. It's safe, it's secure, and it really does help us. So hopefully we'll see you next week in our building, or also you can join us online. See ya.